Okay, let's hear the treasurer's report, Pat.
Thanks, Chuck. Well, as usual, actual pledges are coming in a little behind what we expected. We're $5,000 behind or so right now, even though we reduced our pledge goal a little. I'm not really worried yet, but we'll need to keep an eye on it and postpone some expenses if we possibly can. We did spend $200 to buy a new printer for the office this month, which we really couldn't put off any longer. All other expenses have been pretty much in line with our budget, but as I've said, we'll all need to cut a little if we don't make up the $5,000 eventually.
Well, we've got time to make that up, don't we? I mean, how far along are we usually at this time of the year?
Well, the last 5 years or so, we've consistently been short of our expectations at this time. But with a plea at the end of the fiscal year, we've always managed to make up the shortfall. We just have a little more to make up than usual this year.
Well, you know, I'm hearing people say they're starting to burn out on these issues, pushing at the end of every fiscal year just to make the budget. People are saying that they're giving all they can, and if we can't make do with what they're able to contribute, then maybe we should just reduce the budget instead.
Well, the problem is if we reduce the budget much more, we won't be able to do much of anything but keep the building open and pay the ministers and the DRE's salary.
Do we need to do anything about the shortfall right now other than not spending any money if we can possibly help it?
Problem is we're going to have to spend some money this fall to repair and maintain the boiler, and we've already put it off because of budget problems.
I have to say it's frustrating how much money we continually have to put up into the building. I'm never able to say yes to our social justice groups when they want a little more money for their programs.
Yes, but if we don't have a building, we don't even have a place for those groups to meet and connect. It's a pretty fundamental need.
I'm wondering, do we need to think about another fundraiser?
Well, I think we'd run into the same problem with another fundraiser. People are just feeling tapped out. Although we are looking into something called Good Search. If people do their searches through Good Search, they'll donate a portion of their ad revenue to the charity that you choose when you do your search. I mean, and I was going to talk about it more during my report.
Will that be able to make up our deficit this year, do you think?
Well, it's not really clear yet. Our committee will all agree to do all of our searches through Good Search, and over the past couple of months, we've raised $35. Now, if we could get most people to do most of their searches through Good Search, and if they did their online shopping through Good Search, which is linked to Good Search, then we could raise a fair amount of money.
Were you thinking of rolling this out to the congregation soon?
Well, we wanted to bring it here first to make sure everyone was comfortable with it, but it's all set up for people to use it and choose the fellowship as their charity. You could just start using it tomorrow if you wanted.
Is there any reason not to do this?
We were a little worried about privacy, but the Good Search site doesn't collect any information from the person searching. It does put a cookie on your computer so that it can remember what charity you donated to the last time you searched. Their frequently asked questions say that they don't collect any personally identifiable information.
Well, it sounds like a good idea. Do you think we can have it out to the congregation by next month's meeting?
Well, it might be possible, but we couldn't expect much revenue for some time, and we'll have to keep reminding people to use Good Search for a while before they'll remember.
Okay, so why don't we start the process with Good Search and see where we are financially next month and see if we'll just have to do another fundraiser by the end of the year.
Well, actually, what I was going to suggest in my report is that the Finance Committee do an analysis of all the ways that we could meet this deficit and the pros and the cons of each so that we have some real information to work with if we need to do something next month.
No, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds really good, Jackie. Are we ready to move on? Okay, let's go to the next agenda item.
How many of you have been in that exact board meeting? So now we're going to do the after board meeting. We're in the same circumstances, but the conversation is going to be completely different because the topics are completely different. So we're dropping in on this meeting in the review the past section, and we're going to listen to them discuss the executive report. Again, it's just going to be a taste of the meeting. So go ahead and take it away.
Well, let's move on to the monitoring report on our financial condition now. Any questions or comments on what was in the board packet?
I was frustrated to see that once again we're behind our projections of where pledge income would be at this point. I'm reassured to see that you're considering a number of options to address the issue. How much worse is the problem this year than in past years?
Well, let me say that I'm very grateful to the finance ministry team who worked with me to put together the list of options and their pros and cons. And well, because of the economy, we're a little further behind than usual. This year we're $5,000 behind, whereas last year it was only $3,500. The finance ministry team thinks that our membership base, which has been in a slow decline all year, has probably dropped more than we realize. Now, we'll be certifying numbers to the UUA in a couple of weeks, and then we'll be able to compare apples to apples.
What do you think is behind this unexpected drop in membership?
Well, we're thinking it's partly related to the drop over the years in religious education. We're thinking that the program has gotten small enough that many people finally decided they just couldn't stay with it anymore.
That's upsetting, since our ends have our children as a big priority for us.
Yes, we're concerned too, especially since the activities we've been implementing to address the drop in RE haven't had a chance to really work yet. And we're not sure if RE really explains the drop in membership.
What are some of your other theories?
Well, we're not sure yet. There's a general feeling among the committee chairs that they have a hard time finding and keeping newcomers. It's almost as if they don't find what they come looking for.
Well, it's not like we can be all things to all people.
What are they looking for they don't find, though?
Well, that's what we don't know yet. It could be that we're not as good at offering what we think we offer, or it could be that we're pretty good at what we want to offer and it's not what our newcomers are looking for.
We probably need more outreach. Need to let more people who would like what we offer know we're here. Maybe we should do some evangelizing.
Well, before we talk about more ways to approach these problems, I'm wondering if we could talk for a minute about what our role is as a board with an issue like this. I still feel new to policy-based governance, and I'd feel better if I knew what we were supposed to do.
Well, we have 3 roles: articulate the ends, monitor progress towards the ends, plus the limitations on means and linkage. Is that right?
That's what I remember. And I don't think this is about articulating new ends yet. We don't even know what the real issue is, or if it has anything to do with the difference we're here to make in the world.
I think it has something to do with monitoring progress towards the end. Partly we need to know if the issue is whether we're just not offering what we think we're offering. We'll know a lot more about that when we do the congregational survey in a couple months, since we're asking people whether they've experienced a difference we're aiming to make.
Yes, it seems like we get a part of our answer from the congregational survey, but I think it's only part of the answer we need. The congregational survey will get the people who are still here, but what about the people who came and left? Shouldn't we ask them about their experiences? Seems like some of the answers we would need come from the people who've already left.
I don't know how much weight we should give their answers, though. Aren't we more accountable to the people who are here and who choose to stay?
Well, I thought when we put together our ends that we talked about how much we wanted to welcome people who didn't know we existed, to give them the amazing experience of being in a religious community that has no creed, that aims to heal the world.
But we can't change who we fundamentally are in order to provide that welcome, can we?
Seems to me we don't really know which one it is. Are we going to have to change who we fundamentally are to welcome more folks in? Or do we just need to actually provide the welcome we say we want to provide? Or maybe could the people who came and left point us in a direction that's new and changes who we are, but in a way that we might actually want to change?
I think that's why I was saying we need to talk to the people who left. We need to know why they came in the first place and what they experienced while they were here and what made them decide to leave.
Well, that's sounding like linkage to me. I'm starting to hear the need to do some linkage with people who have come and stayed for a while, but then ultimately left. What do the rest of you think?
Yeah, I think so.
As long as it's about gathering data and not about finding out how we should be completely different than we already are, I can support doing linkage with the people you're describing.
Well, I'm thinking this all fits in the Create the Future section of our agenda. We've decided we want to do some linkage with people who come here, stayed for a while, but ultimately left. I think we still need to figure out how that fits with our future focus topic and what other linkage we're going to want to do around that topic. How about we come back to this when we get to that part of the agenda?
Sounds good.
Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda, please.